Welcome back to United Vision, where we break down every detail from Carrington and bring you the stories the media don't tell you. Today's episode takes you right inside Manchester United's preparations ahead of this weekend's huge clash. And trust me, the intensity at Carrington says everything. The players look sharp, focused, and ready for a statement performance. Let's get into it. The atmosphere at Carrington was sharp from the moment the players stepped out for training, with Rúben Amorim making it clear that this weekend's game would demand complete focus and a clean execution of his principles. Warm-ups were short and intense, built around fast movement and quick reaction drills that instantly lifted the tempo across the pitch. As soon as the squad broke into their units, the defenders were pushed into high-focus work, with Matheus Ligt and Yoro commanding the backline through 2 versus 2 and 3 versus 3 defensive scenarios. They were made to deal with recovery runs, tight spaces, and sudden switches of play, all aimed at preparing them for the speed and unpredictability the upcoming opposition is known for. Lammens contributed heavily by practicing rapid distributions into wide areas and central pockets, forcing defenders to transition from defensive actions into attack within seconds. Meanwhile, the midfield group worked with even greater urgency. Mainoo and Casemiro rotated through pressing triggers and high-pressure build-up patterns, constantly being reminded by Amorim to react instantly after losing possession and to break with intention when they regained it. Quick combinations, escape patterns from compact areas, and smart positional rotations helped the midfield find their rhythm as they prepared to control the centre of the pitch this weekend. Further up the field, the attacking group carried a sharp edge, with Matheus Cunha looking close to full fitness and combining confidently in small-sided finishing drills. Bryan and Mbeumo and Sesko executed diagonal runs, one-touch finishes, and wide overloads, working on stretching the defensive line and attacking spaces with precision. The intensity rose even more during the final tactical block, where Amorim set up a full 10v10 simulation that mirrored the opposition's style. The team had to deal with quick transitions, aggressive pressing waves, and forced wide attacks, demanding discipline and constant communication throughout. By the time the whistle signaled the end of the session, the players looked exhausted but fully locked in. Amorim gathered them near the centre circle for a brief team talk, emphasising the need to control the tempo, stay compact, and commit to both phases of the game. His final message was clear. The weekend is about intensity, discipline, and taking control early. The players nodded, exchanging determined looks as they headed back toward the changing rooms. Even with a few absences in the squad, the atmosphere suggested readiness. United had trained with purpose, and they looked prepared for the challenge ahead. If this level of training intensity shows anything, it's that United are gearing up for a massive performance this weekend. Let me know in the comments, who do you think should start, and what's your score prediction? And if you're rocking with the content, make sure you like, subscribe. In other news, Manchester United face £44 million transfer battle as gentleman's agreement emerges. Manchester United boss Rúben Amorim could move to strengthen his midfield in January to bolster the club's Champions League hopes. Manchester United face a fight to land Wolves midfield ace João Gomes if they make a January move. A new midfielder will be top of Rúben Amorim's wish list if United look to strengthen in the mid-season window. United are unbeaten in 5 Premier League outings, their best run under Amorim since his appointment 12 months ago, with the club aiming to qualify for Europe next season. Having spent over £200 million to rebuild the club's ailing attack and finding themselves a new number 1 in the shape of Lammens, adding more quality to United's midfield ranks, is the next port of call. Nottingham Forest and England midfielder Elliot Anderson is admired by those at the club, while Brighton's Carlos Baleba was considered last summer. However, both would likely cost in excess of £100 million. United are also understood to have been monitoring Brazil international Gomes over the past 18 months, and he has emerged as a more cost-effective alternative, with suggestions of a £44 million price tag mooted in some overseas reports. However, Wolves are loath to sell their prized asset, given the club's dire situation in the Premier League, and amid growing fan unrest, new manager Rob Edwards has been hired with the club, vowing to do all it can to remain in the top flight. And that includes telling the new head coach that, despite only having 2 points from 11 games thus far, they will not be cashing in on their star man, as they look to give themselves the best possible chance of staying up. Gomes would undoubtedly be keen on a move to United, where he would team up with 62.5 million former Wolves teammate Matheus Cunha, who has previously labelled the ex-Flamengo star unbelievable. And he will be aware that a move to United may not still be there in the summer if other options appear at the table. But Wolves are ready to insist he stays put until the end of the campaign, unless United make an offer that is simply too good for the Midlands club to refuse. What do you think? Should United splash £44 million now to secure João Gomes, or wait until the summer and risk missing out? Drop your thoughts below and make sure you subscribe to United Vision for all your daily updates in other news. Today we're talking about the £35 million Premier League engine who could become Rúben Amorim's January game changer. Let's get into it. He's the one. £35 million star who Ineos are seriously considering signing in January would be cherry on top for Amorim. Paul Parker has claimed that the addition of Conor Gallagher to Rúben Amorim's squad in January would be the cherry on top for the coach. It's certainly being considered by Ineos chiefs too. Back in the final days of the summer window, United had a loan offer rejected for Gallagher, after Atletico Madrid made it clear they would only facilitate a permanent sale. Weeks prior, they had also rebuffed the same approach from Crystal Palace, who were keen on bringing the former loanee back to Selhurst Park. However, the midfielder has since been utilised sparingly by Diego Simeone at the Metropolitano. How Gallagher is faring this campaign in Spain? He's started only twice in the opening 12 La Liga matches and has totalled a measly 339 minutes in action. In Europe, Gallagher has featured in all 4 of Atleti's UCL fixtures thus far, albeit only twice from the off. Such a reduced role has resulted in the 25-year-old being completely cast aside from the England setup, having not been called up since 2025/2026 got underway, with an abundance of talent across the field for Thomas Tuchel to choose from each international break. He's hardly going to be looking at the likes of Gallagher, who isn't playing anywhere near enough to warrant a place over his national counterparts. From the player's perspective, he'll be desperate to secure increased game time elsewhere in the second half of the term to give him even the slightest chance of making Tuchel's World Cup squad next summer. He did travel with the Three Lions to Qatar in 2022, but was an unused substitute throughout the tournament. 2 years later, the Chelsea graduate had done enough in Gareth Southgate's eyes to feature 5 times at Euro 2024, where England reached the final before losing to Spain. A return to the Premier League would likely entice Gallagher, as it would allow him to ply his trade in a much more familiar environment, and ideally, reignite the best version of himself. Parker. Gallagher could be the one for Amorim. Parker poured praise on the former Blue when speaking to Ut District this week, suggesting he'd be a perfect fit for his former club, United. If you're looking to take it forward slowly and you want to do something, you have to have something in the back end that you look to build on, he began. You look to build on with that person coming in on loan, or you see you get someone on loan who does well, you get that calibre of player to come in, get it cemented in, then Connor is the one, he's the one player I think they need. One player who plays a lot of football, doesn't get injured often, and is willing to play. I've watched him many a time when he was at Palace and when he was at Chelsea, and every time you see him grimacing, the lad wants to play games of football. If he doesn't play, it's a good reason. Even if he's had a knock, he wants to play football, and I know that if he comes to Manchester United, that would be the cherry on the top. That's the latest on Conor Gallagher and United's growing interest. What do you think? Should Ineos make him the priority signing in January? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to United Vision, so you never miss a breaking update in other news. Rio Ferdinand has dropped a bold verdict on one Manchester United star, calling him a joke. You won't believe who he's talking about. But before we dive in, make sure to smash that subscribe button, hit like, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest United scoop. Rio Ferdinand singles out Manchester United star with telling prediction: he's a joke. Manchester United have put together their best run since Rúben Amorim took charge 12 months ago, with Rio Ferdinand making clear who he believes have been integral to their recent upturn in form. Rio Ferdinand has heaped praise on Manchester United's in-form forward Bryan Mbeumo, labelling the £71 million star a joke. Signed in the summer from Brentford, The Cameroon international has stepped up to the plate for United since his big money move to Old Trafford, emerging as the chief goal threat in Rúben Amorim's expensively assembled new look attack. While Benjamin Sesko has taken time to settle and Matheus Cunha has impressed with his all-round game and work ethic, Mbeumo has registered 6 goals and an assist in his opening 12 games. He was named the Premier League's Player of the Month for October, at a time where United have gone 5 games unbeaten in all competitions. Former United defender Fernandez was asked to name the club's most important player right now on his YouTube podcast and was quick to highlight how impressed he has been with the 26-year-old. Mbeumo has been a joke, said Fernandez. He's really stepped in there and become a mainstay. He's someone who can give you 2 or 3 seconds on the ball to relieve pressure. He can score important goals and create chances. I saw Thomas Frank's comments about him the other day, and Mbeumo nearly being a complete winger. I think by the end of this season, he'll be one of the most complete wingers in the Premier League because he can do everything. He just needs to consistently do it in a United shirt. Mbeumo was not the only player Fernandez praised, with both Matthijs de Ligt and new goalkeeper Lammens having impressed the ex-England centre-back. You can't talk about anyone being our most important player without mentioning the goalkeeper, added Fernandez. It's no coincidence we've had an upturn in form. We've got a goalkeeper that it seems all the players trust. On the subject of De Ligt, who was at United last term, but after issues with form and fitness has been an ever-present this term, playing every minute thus far, Fernandez added, I think Matthijs de Ligt has been our best defender this season. He's been outstanding for us. He's even adding goals, with the last-minute one the other day against Tottenham. His pressing, his assertiveness, and his willingness to go into foreign areas up the pitch to defend at the right times has been good. Clearing out of the box, he has been brilliant. That's all for today's update, Reds. If you enjoyed the video, smash that like button, subscribe to United Vision, and turn on that bell to stay updated with everything happening at Old Trafford. We've got more exclusive updates, reactions, and deep dives coming your way. Glory, glory, Man United. In previous news, Rúben Amorim's Manchester United aren't waiting for next summer. They want business done now. Reports claim United are pushing for a £70 million January transfer that could relegate another club. Stick around because this one's wild. Ruthless Manchester United ready to force £70 million January signing through that could result in relegation. Manchester United want to accelerate the signing of a high-quality midfielder in January, and sealing the deal would not only land a blow on Manchester City, but could also send a struggling side down, per reports. Man United's winning run came to an end on Saturday, though the signs over the past month or so suggest the Red Devils are finally on the right track under Rúben Amorim. Their front three is set for the long haul after United invested heavily in Bryan and Mbeumo, Matheus Cunha and Benjamin Sesko over the summer. The next port of call will be overhauling the midfield, and according to Court Offside, Manchester United don't want to wait until next summer. They state United are ready to accelerate a mid-season move for Nottingham Forest and England ace, Elliot Anderson. The 22-year-old shone during United's clash with Forest on Saturday in what could be viewed as an audition of sorts. Anderson won 100% of the tackles he attempted, played 15 passes into the final third, achieved 14 ball recoveries, created 3 chances, won 3 fouls, and succeeded in both of the take-ons he attempted. Man United's interest in Anderson is well documented, but they're not the only club taking a close look. Chelsea and Anderson's former club, Newcastle, are in the mix too. Man City are also hovering and believed to pose the biggest threat to Man United, per the report. Accordingly, the Red Devils want to mitigate that threat by moving for Anderson mid-season, even if it means paying a premium. The figure of £70 million was cited in the piece. A source was quoted as saying, United see Anderson as a perfect option and a long-term investment, though they could also accelerate their efforts for him this January. There is a unanimous feeling among the directors, Rúben Amorim, and his coaching staff, that Anderson would be a great addition in that position. Losing Anderson mid-season could be devastating for Forest, who have fired more managers, 2, than matches they've won, 1, this season. Forest are already 4 points adrift of safety, and Anderson's departure would reduce their chances of beating the drop significantly. Accordingly, Team Talk has been informed Forest have slapped a hefty £100 million price tag on the player. They have taken that approach in an attempt to ward off suitors, though Court Offside's report suggests Man United's aren't deterred. Regarding Anderson, we understand he is open to leaving Forest and securing a move to one of the Premier League's elite. However, there are no suggestions he will agitate for a mid-season move, and at present, he remains fully focused on lifting Forest out of the rut they're in. As such, the signs suggest Man United really will have to make an offer deemed too good to refuse if they're to land their man in January. So United fans, what do you think? Is Elliot Anderson worth £70 million, and should Amorim go all in this January? Drop your thoughts below. I'm reading every comment. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep it locked right here on United Vision. In other news, Manchester United are planning a £105 million January spending spree, and Rúben Amorim is set to be fully backed by the board. Two major targets are already on the list, and it looks like Sir Jim Ratcliffe wants to make a real statement this winter. Stay locked in, smash that subscribe button, and let's dive into United's next big transfer moves. Manchester United set aside £105 million for January spending spree on two targets. United are set to back Rúben Amorim for the longer run, Sir Jim Ratcliffe confirmed in a recent interview. And after a win at Liverpool last weekend, it is fair to say that the Portuguese will have considerable backing to prove himself at the club. Fichajes has reported that Man United are planning another spending spree during the January transfer window, with Athletic Bilbao's Oyhan Sanset and Sporting Lisbon's Ousmane Diomande on their radar ahead of winter. According to the source, Amorim is set to be granted a £105 million budget to spend on the duo as he switches his attention to rebuilding the midfield and defence next, having acquired a number of offensive starts over the course of the preceded summer. £105 million enough to make two key signings. Oyhan Sanset will likely cost Manchester United close to £60 million, although it remains to be seen if Athletic Bilbao are prepared to let go of the 25-year-old midway through the season, especially as his contract with them runs until 2032. He promises to be a solid signing for the Red Devils, but given that Athletic Club are doing well in La Liga and also playing in the Champions League, there is a high possibility that his purchase will not be a successful proposition during the winter. Meanwhile, Ousmane Diomande's future could take care of itself in January as he enters the last 18 months of his contract with Sporting Lisbon. And in order to retain some bargaining power over the 21-year-old, they may let him go sooner rather than later. If Man United can offer approximately £45 million for Diomande, they would feel that they have done good business with signing an incredibly talented central defender with the potential to become one of the world's best a few years down the line. Sanset's signing is more vital for United, however, considering their lack of depth and quality in midfield, whereas Diomande is more of a long-term investment and a possible replacement for Harry Maguire, whose contract expires at the end of the season. Whether the board is prepared to wait for the athletic midfielder until next summer will be interesting to see, though for the time being, it isn't known yet whether or not United have any alternatives in mind heading into January. £105 million on the table, two young stars on the radar, and Amorim finally building his own team. What do you think, Reds? Should United go all in for both Sanset and Diomande this January, or save part of that budget for summer targets? Let me know your thoughts below. And don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to United Vision for more breaking news, transfer updates and analysis. Your #1 stop for everything Manchester United.